my own personal world, I'm incredibly privileged, and I've got a roof over my head, and I know where my next meal's coming to. If I'm really honest with you, one of the things that is kind of eating away at me is that feeling of privilege. Yeah. And there's like a guilt. That's the truth. You know, there are times when I feel that I want to do more than what can I do to make it better. So yeah, you know, I'm okay. I'm not losing the plot yet. But it is interesting, isn't it, when we stand still and start looking at the world in a different way, because we're having to, your own personal place in all of that, yeah?
Sometimes we can easily forget, because they're so resourceful themselves, and I'm talking about youth, and I'm talking about more so teenagers and young adults. They're pretty resourceful, that you usually just, they're kind of easy to forget, because usually they don't want any interaction from older people anyway.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And then that's how the conversation created, you know, that the importance of, recognizing and appreciating the contributions when you can get some kind of feedback from young people, just how important they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, I'm going to jump in straight away. I mean, I didn't hear the whole show this morning. I've been on a board meeting, but
well, shame on you. No.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm looking after the construction company in the corner here. All right, mate. I'm making sure there's work. Now, look, there's two main things I'm going to say, and again, get on the internet, have a look at who or what I've done. But for the majority of my life, you know, teenagers and young people were my passion, and they still are. Yeah. Now, the two things I would say to you is, in my learning, one is that as the adult, whoever it is that's the older person, you need to orchestrate a little moment, no more than 5 minutes, where you find a space to invite them in to say, I'm just checking in on you. Yeah. You don't have an opinion. You don't make a judgment. You just sit there and listen. Yeah. And I think that is the key to actually trying to find out where their headspace is. Now, you're absolutely right, the way you just described that. The adolescents do become quite self-contained, don't they? And anybody who's, you know, over the age of 25 is a muppet and they know nothing. And that's fundamentally part of their development. We all did it on different levels. So the point is that you, as I say, you are still the adult, you're still the carer, you're still the person that is fundamentally responsible for that human being. And just because they're quiet or in the bedroom or playing games or not actually creating hell and desolation in the middle of the living room doesn't mean that they're not frightened, that they don't need a space to talk about what they're thinking. So, yeah, 5 minutes, that's all. Make it, I'll make the coffee, let's go and sit outside on the step, that kind of thing. Don't make it heavy, because we all know adolescents will turn and run a million miles if it looks like there's some heavy shit going to come their way. Yeah. But if it's just come on, let me just check in on you. And it's okay to phase it, in a way of, I know you're probably okay, but can you do this for me? Just so I can make sure that you're okay, so then I don't have to worry. That's one way of being able to open the door. Okay, that's one thing. I know it sounds very simple, but try and do that, because it's a really important thing that you do check in with them, because they will get lost very, very quickly if they're not, their needs are not identified with. The second thing I want to open the door to is, it's a much bigger question, and maybe we can have a whole discussion about this one day. It's about contribution. Now, as human beings, if you want to make yourself feel respected, feel like you've got a purpose, and it's very hard for adolescents to even get their heads around, well, where can I contribute? Because nobody really wants me. I can't do anything grown up because I'm not allowed, and I'm not a child, so what can I do to contribute, yeah? I think if you can find ways for them to contribute and start even conversations about the fact that, there is unemployment. We are going to go into a depression. There are going to be some very serious challenges for young people to find a place in the world. But at the moment, if you sat there and started having conversations with them about what do you care about in the world? What do you care? What have you observed that you're proud of what people are doing and how they're doing it? And it's a way to open the door to find a way for them to contribute. Now, ideally, we want all of our teenagers to get to a point where they can earn money and start that that road of independence. But one of the ways they can start that is by taking on responsibilities that are about contributing. Remember we talked, days and days ago about picking up the phone and taking responsibilities for some maybe older people in your family or in the community that need help with technology. Yeah, stuff like that. Where can they contribute? Where can you make them feel valued? Because it's very, very easy for adolescents at the moment to think that, my entire future is over. Whatever my hopes and dreams were is over because the world has gone to hell in a handbag. It's about, as adults, trying to give them opportunity to see where they can contribute.
Great points, Sian. Because, younger children, we know, they need attention. So they like attention. Whereas, teenagers, young people, they don't need your approval. They need the approval of their peers, which appears to be more important. I know this because we've all been through it. Yeah. Older people, when we were younger, as a teen, didn't really, everything that they spoke about was like, oh, you're so weird. So taking on board all of those points are absolutely, definitely going to have some kind of impact in getting through. Being that they are usually quite straight up, I find it easier just to kind of mimic their behaviour. I don't have teenage children, of course. Thank goodness. But whenever I've got to interact with them, I try to mirror exactly what they're giving back to me. And I find that effective in that they will usually it usually kind of grabs their attention because they're like, oh, what's happening here?
Yeah. It's about, I think what I'm hearing you say is that, and I wholeheartedly agree, it's about opening the conversation with respect. I want to hear what you say. I believe there's some value in what you're saying and what you're thinking and how you're going to contribute, even to a conversation. And you're absolutely right. It's about lifting the bar. And as adults, we have to be very, very careful that we don't continue in a vein of a belief system that you've got that are complete and utter waste of time. They don't contribute. They're a nightmare. All they do is take. Well, to a point, you're right. But that's part of being an adolescent. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. As an adult, it's really important that you put that smile on your face, that you make the cup of tea and you get a little couple of biscuits and you say, come on, this is your time. What do you need? And this must be hard for you because you're watching, I'm looking after the little ones, I'm working, I'm trying to make the world go round. And you must feel like you're having no attention at all. Yeah. And I should say, it's about being real, having adult conversations with them. Don't expect them to reach an equity level straight away. It won't happen, but it will grow. Because I know this not just from a theoretical point of view. I've run prisons. I've looked after some kids who have got attitude that I'm telling you can make you rock on your heels. Yeah. And my learning was exactly what you're saying, Murdoch, that if I took them in a room, made a cup of tea and sat down and said, okay, what's really happening for you? I'm here to listen. Yeah. And it is about that respect. Yeah. And there were times, I'm going to be honest, it doesn't feel like that. I didn't think they deserved the quality of my head attention, and I knew it wouldn't last even after I'd had the conversation. But that doesn't mean you don't have it, yeah? And that's where we've got to check in with ourselves, yeah? Because we are still the adults. We are still the people that take the responsibility. And the only way you're going to know is by prioritising time for them, even when they are a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
All the time. And again, let's be clear. Not all adolescents are like that. The majority are, but not all of them. Yeah. So just make sure that they don't slip off your radar. Yeah. Conversations are not all going to be sunshine and roses at the moment with everybody. But don't body swerve them, because the longer you do, what happens with young people is they'll start creating a belief that you don't care.
Yeah. And making them feel like they are making some kind of contribution is also really important to. If I mean, there's, we know the easiest way to win someone over is to throw some encouragement in whatever you're trying to get across.
Absolutely, Murdoch. And it doesn't have to be massive, you see. If they just independently are able to see that the kitchen bin is overflowing and they were able to take it out and take it outside. She said, laughing, because there was a big row in my house a few days ago about that. if they're actually able to notice it, then you need to be tuned into that. Yeah. And I'm not saying overreact and make it disingenuous that, this is fabulous, you've just found a cure for COVID-19. Yeah, but you do need to say, thank you for doing that. I observed and I noticed that you were, that you saw it and did it, and that makes me feel good.
It's like at home for me, my daughter and son-in-law cooking dinners. Nice. I love it. And I thank them.
But yeah, isn't that exactly what you're saying, Renaud? Isn't it just a lovely feeling to see that the people you brought into the world have got to a level of maturity where they lean in, take responsibility, and want to contribute? It's an amazing feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
And it's also about really tempering that that response, as far as my immediate reaction when I'm getting something good out of someone is, oh, bloody about time. But outside of my mouth, outwardly, I'm like, oh, that's so lovely.
You've got it. That's exactly what it's about, yeah?
Yes.
And the younger they are, I mean, again, when we're talking about the kind of 13, 14, 15-year-olds, they actively are trying to withdraw and not communicate with you. So it's even more important that you do that and that you give them a couple of roles that are important. Will they do it straight away? Unlikely. Will they do it to the level that you want it to do? Absolutely not. But that's not the point. Yeah. It's not the point.
Yep.
Yeah.
We love your contribution, Sian, and we really do appreciate your contribution to what you bring to our community, because you're part of our community now. You're part of our tribe. You're part of our
Thank
whānau.
you, darling. Thank you. You're going to make me cry now. Yeah. Go on.
I actually thought when I heard that noise, I was, oh, is she on a Lime scooter? No, but I knew it wasn't that.
But thank you so much. We look forward to talking to you again tomorrow.